Good happy Thursday, everyone. Is Thursday, January 16, 2025. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Riley's Kingdom of News right here on WRMK News Radio. We got a jam packed broadcast to get to on this Thursday, so let's get started right now. First up, Executive Council approved more funding for overtime for Northern Border Alliance. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
More money is heading to the northern border for security efforts. The Executive Council signing off on a $134,000 federal grant to fund police overtime. It's less than state officials asked for, and New Hampshire tax dollars through the Northern Border Alliance have increasingly covered what's been a federal role. Governor Kelly Ayotte is eager for the incoming Trump administration to make some changes.
I would anticipate that they may put more federal resources toward that enforcement.
Recent data from the Northern Border Alliance shows that from July to December of last year, officers handled 3,200 offenses and none were related to illegal immigration. Executive Counselor Karen Leo Hill says there's an opportunity to improve government efficiency.
I think there's probably better uses for our really limited dollars and assets that we have, and they can be put to better use somewhere else.
Other counselors say the more visible law enforcement presence is preventing border crossings, which they contend were happening in the past.
There's skeptics out there. There are statistics. You can go back into years, but more presently, why would the bad guy want to go across the New Hampshire border if they're going to be greeted by law enforcement?
Counselor Joe Kenny asked the Commissioner of Safety about the lack of law enforcement encounters with illegal immigrants.
Is it zero? It's pretty close. It's not a lot. So the program's working. The program is working, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
The governor says she plans to maintain funding for the Northern Border Alliance in her state budget.
It's really a deterrent effect so that we don't have some of the issues that we have seen, unfortunately, in other states.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Email us right now at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. That's rknetwork1995@gmail.com. Weigh in and let us know.
Firearm.
TSA officers from 8 New England airports reported fewer firearm detections than last year. Interesting, right? Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
At 8 New England airports, all detected in 2024. That's actually a decrease from the year before. Logan Airport had 24, and Manchester Boston Regional had 3 incidents last year. TSA agents at New England Airport screened more than 33.5 million people in 2024. Now, nationally, Atlanta International is at the top of the list for 2024 with 440 firearms detected.
Okay, and there you go on that report. We want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts on this. Email us right now at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. That's rknetwork1995@gmail.com. Joe Kirby, plenty of credit to go around for a ceasefire. Let's take a listen to that report from NBC News.
Retired Admiral John Kirby, the White House National Security Communications Advisor. Admiral Kirby, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
As you know, Netanyahu's office just put out a statement a short time ago claiming that Hamas is already reneging on the agreement to extort some last-minute concessions. Hamas insisting that it's committed to the ceasefire. All of this while attacks continue in Gaza overnight. How confident are you, Admiral, that this is a plan that's actually going to hold?
We're going to get there, Craig. We're aware of these issues that the Prime Minister has raised today, this afternoon, their time, and we're working through that. Our team on the ground is actually working with him and his team to iron all this out and flatten it and get it moving forward. Obviously, this has got to get approved by the Israeli government, and Prime Minister Netanyahu knows that, and he's working through that process as well. But we're confident that we'll be able to solve these last-minute issues and get it moving, and that this ceasefire can take place starting on Sunday.
Meanwhile, the parents of deceased Israeli-American hostage Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, they put out a statement as well. I just want to read part of it to you. They welcomed the deal. They also took issue with the timing of this deal, saying in part, our beloved son Hirsch and so many other innocent civilians should have been saved long ago by a deal like this one, especially since the framework for today's deal has been in place since May of 2024. What do you say to them and others who argue that this is a deal that could have been done months ago, and not doing so cost lives?
We agree 100%. With the Goldberg family and every other hostage family that feels the same way, because we feel exactly the same way. This is the deal that the president put on the table back in May, was endorsed by the international community, and time again, Hamas just kept throwing up obstacles and wasn't willing to negotiate in good faith. What changed was they're weaker now. They're more isolated now. They're in more trouble, and so they were willing to make a deal. But the families are right. This should have happened a long, long time ago. Frankly, the hostages shouldn't have been taken in the first place if Mr. Sinwar hadn't broken the ceasefire that actually did exist on the 6th of October.
There are some who maintain that there's something else that got this deal over the line. As you probably know, President-elect Donald Trump's Mideast envoy has been working on this for weeks in conjunction with your administration. There was this tense meeting over the weekend, apparently, between the President-elect's envoy and Prime Minister Netanyahu and President-elect Trump last week, saying, quote, all hell will break loose if this doesn't get done before his inauguration. Why did it take the president-elect's involvement to get this over the finish line?
What really got us to this point was the isolation and the weakening of Hamas. That's what really drove us to this point. But without question, the president-elect coming in after his election and saying he supported this deal certainly helped. There's no question about that. Look, I think we got to stop worrying about this whole credit business and who gets credit for what. There's plenty of credit to go around. The hostages don't care about who's claiming credit. The people in Gaza don't care. They just want the war to end, and the hostages just want to come home, and that's what this deal will do. Now, the next team is going to have to implement it, Craig. We got it over the finish line with, of course, in coordination with them as one team, as the Americans expect us to do, American people expect us to do. But now the new team's going to have to implement it over coming weeks and months, and that's why it was so critical for them to be a part of this negotiation process.
By your administration's account, there are 3 American hostages that are still being held alive. When can we expect they will be returned home?
We do know that some of those Americans will be in this first tranche, Craig. The first tranche of hostages that will be released in this initial 6 weeks will be those that are elderly, sick, wounded, civilian women, and we know that there's a couple of Americans that qualify in that tranche, and so they'll be coming out, and we expect to get the rest of our Americans home in future tranches coming up.
Are we talking days? We talking weeks?
Well, we hope that if this implementation starts on Sunday as scheduled, that hostages will start coming out immediately. I couldn't give you a date certain for when the Americans will come out, but certainly there will be some Americans in this first tranche.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't
Okay, and there you go. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this could have happened months and months earlier? Or do you think it needed to wait this long to happen? Let us know, weigh in, send in your thoughts and opinions right now at rknetwork1995@gmail.com. That is rknetwork1995@gmail.com. President Biden warns of oligarchy in a final address to the nation. Let's take a listen to that report from NBC News.
In his farewell address after 5 decades in politics, President Biden looking to define his legacy following 4 tumultuous years.
Every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans.
through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history.
The president vigorously defending his record, leading the nation out of a global pandemic, restoring jobs after an economic crisis, and heavily investing in the nation's infrastructure and clean energy initiatives. With President-elect Trump set to retake the White House, President Biden highlighted the peaceful transfer of power.
I wish the incoming administration success because I want America to succeed.
Still, he delivered a dire warning about what he called a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of very few, very rich people.
An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead.
Another danger, he warned, the growth of AI and big tech.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit.
With First Lady Jill Biden, his son Hunter, and Vice President Harris in the room, this word of thanks.
She and Doug have become like family, and to me, family's everything.
After a lifetime in public service, the president calling on Americans to defend our democracy.
A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard.
While the majority of Americans say they are dissatisfied with his presidency, President Biden says it is going to take time for the full impact of all he accomplished to be felt. But in his words, he insisted the seeds are planted. Laura?
Hey, thanks for...
Okay, and there you go on that report. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts and opinions on his final speech? Weigh in right now at rknetwork1995 at gmail.com. That is rknetwork1995 at gmail.com. Hey, that did it for this edition of Riley's Kingdom of News right here on WRMK News Radio. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Have a great day. Bye.